I mean, I didn't do any notes.
No.
No notes.
Same. Some things never change.
Yeah, there's no point.
If my notes slip, then Dolan creeps into this chair, doesn't he?
I just had a little thing in my head I was going to say, but I was going to do a little partridge.
Mum would be like, "Why have you bought this?" When I was young, I'd be like, "Mum, I like Bovril, let me live." My mum was like, "Oh, that's a lovely voice. Who is that talking?" And my dad was like, "Oh, it's Chris Dolan." And she took one look at the screen and went, "I do not like his hair."
What?
Hello, welcome back to the Villa View podcast with myself, Dan Bardell, not in a Villa shirt, let myself down, and Tom Julian in a Villa shirt, but likely to let himself down at some stage.
Seems fair. What a lovely start. You're late, just
Yep.
off the bat, so it's nice to get that. I feel like I'm 1 or 2-0 up at this stage. Could still all go wrong.
I mean, yeah, 2-0 leads can be blown, although not on Sunday, by Leicester City.
Sure.
But we're going to start off with some admin because it's early in the morning, and I know that we're likely to forget if we don't do it now. So,
good admin too.
Rob Moore, you have won the Paul McGrath Muller t-shirt from the Art of Football website that I was wearing in last week's podcast, minus Tom. I liked your team. You picked subs as well. I was impressed that you managed to come up with a sub goalkeeper for the All-Irish Villa 11.
So for anyone that doesn't watch the podcast when I'm not in it,
like you.
like me, what talk us through the competition?
Yeah, so it was Paul McGrath's 60th birthday last week, so I just said, if you can name me an 11 of players that have represented Villa and Ireland, didn't necessarily have to be at Villa when they played for Ireland, but yeah,
right.
I like Rob Moore's team, so I'll just go through it. Shay Given in goal, back three of Steve Staunton, Paul McGrath and Richard Dunn. Then we've got Enda Stevens, Conor Harahan, Glenn Whelan, Andy Townsend and Ray Houghton, and then Tony Cascarino and Robbie Keane up front. Decent little bench as well. I think his name was Wayne Henderson, the only Irish goalkeeper I could find. Well done, Rob Moore. Kieran Clark, Callum Robinson, Stephen Ireland, Gareth Farrelly, Scott Hogan, and I'm gonna say Williams. He caught me out there because I don't think I know his first name.
Oh dear.
He plays for Blackburn still. Derek Williams, there's his bench. Well done, Rob Moore. I'll be in touch. We'll get that sorted for you.
I mean, it's just gone 8 and there's no fact checking going on there. So
Oh,
Derek
right.
Williams. Oh,
That's right. 100% that's right.
Yeah, well done. Great. The Art of Football doing wonderful work. So thank you for that competition to them as well. And are you going to take charge of that prize?
He's sending it, so we don't have to
Right,
worry about
okay.
it. I've just got to tell him who's won. Even I can't get that wrong.
Good for you. And while we're doing admin, I guess it makes sense to talk about the mugs.
Yeah. I mean, basically, we're trying to delay talking about a heavy defeat at this point.
Yeah. So the mugs. We've sold loads, which is awesome, and thank you to everybody that's bought a mug. It's going to be a huge boost to the channel, both financially, but also it gives us the freedom to do a few more things over the next over the rest of the season. Hopefully, a little bit longer as well.
I've noticed since we've did the mugs again, and obviously we've not set the trend because we're not trendsetters, but a lot of Twitter sites and stuff, they're all do Twitter pages, not sites, Twitter pages are doing mugs, like, you know, that out of context Hearn that Rollo loves.
Oh yeah,
like they're doing mugs
really?
for Christmas. Yeah, mugs are the go-to gift this Christmas.
Villa View influencing again. So there are a few left. If you would like to get yourself a mug, it's the Big Cartel website. Search the Villa View, and it's the only option on there. So if you want to get it in time for Christmas, you'll need to do your order this week. We've had the first batch in, so the first 40 are going to go out hopefully today or tomorrow, and then the rest of the order will also come in the next, I hope by the end of the week, but maybe start of the week. We hope to get every UK order out before Christmas. International orders, again, we hope to get them out. We're going to send them out as the orders came in. Yep. So first come, first serve kind of thing. But obviously, international will change a little bit. I just want to say thank you for bearing with me. It's been a really busy couple of weeks for me, and it's been a bit of a learning curve on the old e-commerce. So I want to say a massive thank you to Jay Morgan, who's doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and thank you to him for bearing with me, and thank you to all of you who have again put money in, because it's massively appreciated by all of us at the Villa View.
Yeah, just want to give a quick shout out to Millie Royal as well. Apparently she loves the Villa View podcast, so let's give her a shout out first thing this morning. Yeah, I think that's admin done, isn't it?
Do we now have to get into the business of talking about Sunday?
I guess so, Tom. I mean, that's what people are tuning in for. I'm presuming they're not tuning in to hear about the mugs.
4:47, and we haven't touched on the awful performance, essentially, that was Aston Villa 1, Leicester 4.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, we're going to go through the game chronologically, I'm presuming, but yeah, I mean, it's not like when we lost 3-0 to Wigan under Smith.
Yes,
that's really bad, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, no one likes that.
Yes,
losing to a team like Leicester can happen, but the manner we played in the second half wasn't brilliant.
No, I kind of.
I'd rather be losing to Leicester than Wigan.
Yeah, fine, but I see these kind of reasons or excuses, whichever way you want to put them, and it frustrates me a little bit because then we lose the games that we perhaps should be competing in, like the Wolves game, for example, or earlier on in the season, Bournemouth, those kind of teams where there's always been a reason that we've lost each game, and not all of them stand the kind of smell test, if you know what I mean. Leicester, absolutely brilliant side. They're not conceding many goals. They are, as we saw, they play fluid football. They're really smart. Tielemans, great player. Maddison played really well. Vardy is on fire. Great. If we lose, we lose. But it just felt like a really flat defeat, and it kind of. Johnny Evans gets that early goal in the second half.
It's a terrible goal.
You know, with all the kind of we've got back into it with Grealish's very late first half goal, and it just feels like we've just gone.
Well, it's the same minute that we conceded against Chelsea in the game before, just after half time. Like you say, we got ourselves back in right before half time. You think, right, ideal, and then we had a 2-3 minutes in dreamland before Johnny Evans scored. But I thought we competed in the first half. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think it was the poor showing that a lot of people have said on Twitter. I thought El Ghazi should have put us 1-0 up. Absolutely, definitely. If he does, it's a different game. I thought
absolutely, definitely. The Oasis B-side.
Yeah, they're going to be. They're working on that one. That's going to be the comeback album. Actually,
Right,
I think I've heard on the grapevine. Yeah, so I think in the first half it was pretty even. Leicester looks dangerous, but I think we looked dangerous as well when we came forward.
Yep.
Second half it was like you say, we just gave up.
Yeah, well let's talk about it then, because it was a horrible day. It was like horrible rain. You know, there was a tricky atmosphere to play. I know these guys are professional footballers. I'm not making any excuses, but it does make things slightly difficult. And in the kind of first 10 minutes, I was writing my notes as the game was going along, as I'm wont to do, and I kind of felt like Villa had some chances, the same as kind of Leicester.
Oh, we should definitely have gone 1-0 up.
Yeah, well then...
Absolutely, definitely.
Then we get to 12 minutes and El Ghazi has it on a plate. It's a lovely ball by Matt Targett on the left-hand side, drills it across, and the only reason I can think that El Ghazi doesn't hit the back of the net is because he's not expecting it to come through a couple of legs.
Should still score though.
Well, he gets the connection on it. That's the kind of opposite side of that argument, and it rattles the bar, and Villa aren't 1-0 up.
Did you have a similar miss against Newcastle? Have I imagined that?
I feel like he's missed a couple in that.
He gets himself in good positions is one thing I will say for him. I mean, he wasn't alone in having a poor game, but El Ghazi had one of those days where everything he tried was just wrong. But at the end, he skewed a shot wide, and I just thought he's having one of those days, El Ghazi. That can happen. As
wingers, again, tend to do a little bit. There's real peaks and troughs, isn't there? And we missed him against Chelsea.
I was surprised to see him start, though.
Right.
I thought Trezeguet would start just off the back of, I think he scored 3 in his last 4 or something, Trezeguet. You would have just expected him to start, but he went with El Ghazi. El Ghazi's played most of the home games. I think I'm correct in thinking that, but he's just had an injury as well, hasn't he? But he's got to score.
I'd say to El Ghazi's kind of credit, he has been a difference maker in a fair few of our...
I like him. He's productive. He gets goals and assists, El Ghazi. He's up there with Grealish as our most productive player in terms of goal and assists, I think.
Sure, that's correct. And he gets closer to Wesley, I think, than any other out-and-out winger. Obviously, Grealish does what he wants, but El Ghazi often almost plays like a number 10 off Wesley.
I like that.
And it kind of it's the best way to try and bring Wesley into the game a little bit more.
I think Trezeguet's perhaps a little bit lightweight still at the moment, whereas I think El Ghazi handles the physicality of the game better. So Leicester have got an organised back four. I think they've got the best defensive record in the league, so maybe that's why El Ghazi played, because he's more likely to unsettle them and get among. So I've got to say, actually, Leicester's back line, I can't say his name to save my life, the Turkish centre-half, Soyun.
Sucking Young?
I mean, that's not right.
I've got it written down.
Definitely not right. He doesn't play for South Korea.
I've got it written down somewhere. I'll find it. We'll get to it later.
Soyun Tube? I don't know. But
Soyun
anyway,
Tube?
that's not right either, is it? But anyway, good player, very good defender. Like really quick, deceptively quick. He doesn't look like the kind of
Soyoung
footballer.
Ju.
Yeah,
Isn't that what you said?
Yeah. He doesn't look like the type of player that would be quick, but he was just first to everything.
Yeah.
I thought he had a great game.
I've just noticed, and this is a little bit off topic, but you and I often copy each other's, like, I don't know who it comes from, but we were both just like this at this point.
It's one of my go-to stances.
Is it?
I quite often, when I'm at the Villa, sit there and I'm doing something and I look over, my dad's doing exactly the same thing. That happens quite a lot.
That's
yeah.
weird. It makes me feel part of the
usually
family.
Weeping.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair. Tyrone Mings was a story for the time that he was on. He gets booked fairly early on, and it looks like he's kind of struggling with a hamstring injury. Was that obvious right from the start to you when you were watching?
No, he just pulled up when he made the interception on the touchline, and then at that point he looks definitely done. I mean, inevitably he's ended up going off anyway, but you think he's done. He's going to go off. Engel's actually stripped off and was ready to come on. I think it showed that on the TV as well when I watched it back. But Mings wants to give it a go. I don't think it cost us, because I think they probably would have scored anyway. But it's just a little bit of, it's fine margins, isn't it? I don't know that. I've got no proof into what I'm saying there, but it's a hamstring injury. You don't run hamstring injuries off.
Nope.
I've had one in my fledgling career.
In your great career.
And you can't run them off. They're painful, and he's ended up going off anyway, and they've scored while he's been on the pitch.
So I've got a couple of questions here. We've got one: should Mings know his body better and do what's best for the team, or as a professional he wants to carry on and he wants to play on? Do we blame Mings, or do we just go, look, he was passionate, he wanted to carry on playing for Villa and playing the game? Do we blame him in that situation?
It's difficult, really, isn't it? Because Dean Smith came after and said he's never had a muscle injury before. So Tyrone Mings has got no previous experience of that kind of injury to base what he does on. So there is that. Part of me thinks the medical staff could perhaps have known and said, you're not going to come back from that. But how many times while you're watching any football and a player gets an injury and they try and come back on and they want to run it off, and invariably they probably do run it off. So he wants to show that he's made of steel, doesn't he, Mings? He's a tough guy, he's a tough character.
And he's a leader.
He's picked up knocks through the season and run back on when you think he might be finished. So he wants to prove that he can play. But like you say, he's a leader and a big miss when he's not there, and he's now not going to be there for 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's whether that extra strain for coming back on for 5-10 minutes has caused that to be longer. I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, but it could happen, couldn't it?
Thank goodness you're not. And the bigger question kind of surfacing around Twitter, and I know Twitter needs to be taken with a pinch of salt.
It really does. I wanted to stay off it on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll bet you did. I don't think I helped that scenario.
You did not.
Tyrone Mings, there's been talk since he was called up for England that he's not the same player that we've seen in the kind of first year of his Villa career, that maybe he's a little bit more casual on the ball. I mean, he's
always been quite casual on the ball.
That's exactly what I was
in the Championship it works, you get away with it. It doesn't work in the Premier League.
So he's been caught a couple of times. Do we put that down to anything to do with England, or do we just think that's what's one of those things?
He's a confident guy anyway. I mean, if you think about it, considering the injuries he's had over the last few years, and he wasn't really a centre-back, he'd never really played centre-back before, and he came into Villa, the confidence that he has is phenomenal, and fair play to him. He's just come in and owned the place, really, from day one. People have got short memories, haven't they? I mean, he's been a fantastic player for us pretty much since the day he arrived. He's been brilliant around the place, and he's been a great player. Has he suffered a slight dip in form? Yes, he has. He's made mistakes. He's cost us goals, but still, the positives of him in the team far outweigh the negative for me, and he'll be a massive miss over the Christmas period. Massive.
Yeah, I agree with all of that.
I don't think it's England, though.
No.
I think you can put it down to that.
No.
He's not going to become a worse player because he's played for England.
I mean, I've never met I actually have met the guy for 10 seconds after the playoff final.
The big mate, he remembers it.
We were both fairly drunk, I think. I certainly was. But I don't know him, obviously. He doesn't strike me as the kind of egotistical, I'm in the England squad, where's my next move, I'm not bothered about this anymore.
He's not like that.
It just seems, like you say, a bit of a dip in form, and maybe the 3 weeks kind of does him some good, just to kind of take him out of the spotlight, as it were, and then he comes back and leads us to a Premier League survival.
Yeah, I mean, him being out, he's a big miss in terms of character, and he is a good footballer, and he offers great balance on that left, because he's got a left foot.
Yeah.
He's left-footed, so that helps with the balance of the back four, but I'm confident in Engels and Konsa as a pairing.
You think that's going to be it?
It sounds stupid, as obviously we shipped 4 goals, and 3 of them were when those two were together on the pitch, but I don't think it's the defence's fault, to be honest, but he'll be them for sure. I don't think it'll be Hawes, and I don't think it'll be Chester.
Hawes makes his way onto the bench?
Probably, although for the Wolves game, Chester was ahead of Hawes.
Right.
On the bench, it's difficult to know what Smith's thinking, really. Konsa didn't look uncomfortable playing the left-hand side of the centre-back pairing, I didn't think. On the Mings' character, I think, obviously, Rollo has spent some time with him.
That's true.
And from what he says, he's nothing like people are saying in terms of being a bit arrogant and cocky at all. Has he got massive self-confidence? Yes, and when you've got a 10-pack and you look like it, so you're going to have massive confidence in yourself. I think he has a good confidence. He's just suffered a dip in form. It happens.
That comes with being a pro as well, doesn't it? You think that you are the best because you want to be the best. Kind of. That sounds like terrible management.
I mean, his attitude so far is he's entered Villa in the Championship in disarray, come in and said, "I'm going to come here and I'm going to be the best centre back we've got." He did that.
Yeah.
He was a massive part of us getting promoted.
Yep.
He's got into the Premier League and he's basically said to himself, I'm going to play that so I can get in the England squad, and then I'm going to get myself in the England team. He's done that twice.
He's captain Villa. He's played for England. His career trajectory is going the right way.
His confidence is only a good thing for me.
Absolutely. However, during his kind of hamstring injury issue, Vardy gets his first goal of the game, kind of poaches on the ball and rounds Heaton, very smart. I mean, again, I see stuff about Vardy being simply a poacher. He's lively. He's such a intelligent player in terms of his runs. He knows exactly how to use the ball. Rounds Heaton. Unfortunately, Konsa can't get back because he's done by Heaton, I think, and Vardy's able to pick the ball up.
Vardy falls over and still scores.
Yeah, but that's it. But Konsa then falls over. That's just Villa, isn't it?
No. And then to be fair, he regained his composure, Vardy, and just cut across onto his left foot, which you probably wouldn't have anticipated him to do, and just slots it home.
The whole Vardy's wife situation, the chanting from the crowd. I mean, it was audible and. I don't think either of us condone that. It's stupid and it's not a good look for the club. Some people justifying it by saying that Vardy was goading the fans first. How did that play out from Villa Park? Do you see?
I mean, Vardy loves a wind up with the opposition fans. He's done that for 4 or 5 years in the Premier League, hasn't he? That's just his character. It's who he is. If he plays for your team, you absolutely love him. If he doesn't, you hate him. Yeah. And that's pretty much where I sit with him.
I would love Vardy.
Villa fans hadn't given him or his wife any stick at all. I'm not condoning the chant because the chant's not really acceptable. Yeah. But the only reason I think the Villa fans did it was because when he scored, was give it the ears.
Is there any reason for him to have given the ears?
I think it's because he fell over. The Villa fans went, hey, and then he ended up scoring. So I think he was probably doing it because of that. It's not a good look, is he? I mean, I'm not a massive fan of his wife and the type of person she comes across in the media, but I'm not going to sing about it. It's not
Who cares?
It's not what we want from the Villa fans, really.
I don't care about his wife. I hope they're very happy, and that's it.
I hope they're very happy, but I'm just saying the Colleen Rooney stuff.
Yeah,
it's not good. It didn't come across well. She didn't come out well out of that, did she?
No, she didn't. Villa have a chance to level. El Ghazi again with a header that goes over the bar, but then really Leicester kind of control the show for the next kind of 10 or so minutes. It gets a bit nasty as well. There's some big challenges flying in. I don't know how much of that was the weather and just how much of that was the kind of attitude.
Frustration.
Yeah. But there's a few bookings. I mean, Villa had 7 or 8 bookings in the end.
Should have had a red card as well, really.
And we'll talk about that for sure. But how did it feel at Villa Park, kind of going through Leicester really asserting themselves and showing what they've done all season, really?
I mean, they're second in the league.
Yeah.
So they're a good side. Where do you sit with the? Are they better than the title-winning side? So you kind of feel like the title-winning side. It was an unbelievable achievement, but there was something that does feel a little bit of a fluke,
right?
Because then the next season they didn't do anything. Yeah. I think this is a sustainable long-term side that they've got there now.
They've got I mean, they had some amazing players in that first side, and a few of them, obviously Vardy, Schmeichel.
It's just Schmeichel, mate.
That's what I said.
You said Schmeichel.
Schmeichel.
Yeah,
Schmeichel.
like Michael Jackson would say, Schmeichel.
I'm sure the Danish would say Schmeichel.
I'm pretty sure it's just Schmeichel.
All right. Anyway, they've got.
You struggle with goalkeepers, Alisson. Yeah, not French.
All right, you asked me a question. I can't get to it. I feel like this is aggression. The fact that you've been late. Anyway,
I'm not going to be aggressive because I'm late.
Schmeichel, Vardy, and back in the day they had Kante. They had this really strong kind of
Drinkwater.
Morgan. They had a really strong kind of core. It feels like they have that again, doesn't it? With Maddison, with Tielemans.
It's a younger team.
Yeah, it is a younger team, and they look lively. Whether they'll do anything, I mean, whether they can win the league is a different matter, because obviously Liverpool are streets ahead, but they are playing really nice football. I feel like they played decent football a few years ago, though, as well. They obviously had some results that could have gone there.
That was pure counter-attack.
Yeah.
I think that was what they did the season they won the league. Mahrez was obviously on absolute fire.
Yeah, of course.
As well, I think he won PFA Player of the Year that year. I just think they've got a bit more about them this year. They've got different ways of playing. I think their formation surprised Villa.
Right.
Because they've not played a narrow diamond all season. And then suddenly they rock up at Villa Park, play two up front with a narrow diamond, and I just think there's no way Villa would have prepared for that.
When Brendan Rodgers came in, I know this isn't the Leicester podcast, but when Brendan Rodgers came in, I was just like, it's not a great move.
No, he's a good manager.
I don't know where I got that from. I don't know whether I just had this kind of Scottish Celtic bias that he's gone up there and then therefore he's forgotten how to be. Obviously, he had the Liverpool
very close to winning the league.
Which, yeah, exactly, but it didn't end very well. I don't know if I just had this view in my mind where it was just a lot worse than it was. He was obviously great at Swansea as well. So, I mean, he's done a fantastic job to take them from what could have been a kind of Europa League candidate probably into
guaranteed Champions League this season.
Yeah, and a genuine title contender if Liverpool weren't so ridiculous. And I mean, still could be. They've got to play each other again, and yeah, good luck to them. They're playing nice football.
I don't think they've got a weak area. I don't know how, in terms of squad depth, if they got a few injuries, whether they've been a little bit of trouble. But that first 11, there's not really a weakness there.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful rebuild, hasn't it? Considering they won the league and then kind of got taken apart a little bit.
Let's Maguire this summer.
Yeah, that's true.
They're probably better without him.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird how football works sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to speaking about Villa. Yeah. So the tough tackling, it gets a little bit nasty. Maddison. Then about 40 minutes in, picks the ball up. I think Chilwell and Maddison have a nice little interchange. Drives the ball in. Iheanacho beats his man at the front post and just coolly volleys it in low past Heaton. Not a lot Heaton can do about it. Again, nice forward play by Leicester. Anything that Villa should be doing better defensively there?
We've got to start cutting out crosses because we can't defend them. We've got to cut it off at source. I was speaking to someone who sits near me at half time, and he said he tells his Sunday League team the best way to stop people scoring from crosses is to stop the cross.
Yeah.
And we look like we're going to concede every time a cross comes in, because I don't think we're a shambles at the back. I just think suddenly from set pieces and crosses have become a problem. I remember when McLeish was in charge, suddenly every week we were conceding a goal from a corner, and it becomes a bad habit, and it becomes something that every time the team gets a corner you start to worry about, and then you don't defend it properly. And I think we've got to start cutting them out at source. That's the only thing I think we can do, because every week there seems to be a goal from a cross at the moment.
Yeah, it's troublesome, isn't it? Because we should be better in the air, and we should be better at dealing with things. And I don't know how you deal with that on the training ground. We've got Dean Smith, who's a defender. We've got John Terry, who's one of the world's best defenders in his day. How do we get past this problem? Because that shouldn't be a problem area for us, and yet it has been all season.
The trouble is, it's not something you can really replicate in training. You can fire as many crosses as you want in training. It's different to being in a game. It's like when people say about practicing penalties. You can't replicate that feeling that you're going to get, the pressure in a penalty shootout in training. We've just got to. It's a bad habit. We've just got to cut it out. That's all I can say about it. I don't think we look unorganised at the back in general. I know we've just come off a game where we've conceded 4, but I genuinely think if you cut out corners and crosses, we're decent.
Villa K2 says, surely it's time for Chester to bring some much needed leadership and stability to the defence. Does that does that change things? Do you think in terms of like if Chester was to play instead of Mings, would our kind of crossing issues subside?
He hasn't played for a year. He hasn't played in the Premier League for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So it's a big ask to just come in and hit the ground running. I will say about Chester is his positioning is very good for crosses. He's not the biggest, so he doesn't win loads of aerial battles if he's up against a big centre forward. He's got that knack of if the cross is coming in from the side that Leicester scored off for the Iheanacho goal. Yeah. Chester's positioning is very good at the front post. He always seems to put himself in the right place from what I've seen of him. I don't think it's going to happen because I just don't think you can just throw him in like that. I think in a way it's sink or swim, but I think that's a very, very big ask even for someone of Chester's experience. I'm convinced it will be Konsa and Engels. I actually really like Engels. I thought he came on and did a couple of really, really good interceptions as soon as he came on. There was one where a cross was fizzed in and he cut it out. He's another ball over the top he dealt with. Yep. I think he's an astute defender, Engels, but what it does need is one of Engels or Konsa needs to become the leader of those two. The talker, the one that's getting the back four in line. What did you make of Elmo starting?
I thought it was interesting, particularly given, obviously he came in for Chelsea and I assume there's nothing wrong with Gilbert.
He's on the bench.
He was on the bench, but but I wondered if perhaps he just had a little tweak or something like that. But it's an interesting kind of. I guess it's a leadership move by Smith to go look. And to me, the only thing I can think of is look, Gilbert, cut out the bookings, the kind of needless bookings, and stop putting your team at risk. Essentially, Elmo's a safe pair of hands, and Smith and El Mohammadi obviously have a good relationship.
Good squad player, Elmo deserves a lot of credit. He gets his head down, doesn't kick up a fuss when he's not in the team. Comes in and he's reliable.
Lost his man, I think, for the Johnny Evans goal.
All right, he's not reliable.
but you're right. To your point, you're right. But I thought it was a kind of a show of confidence that Smith still believes that Elmo's a Premier League player. And I don't know whether that was a correct decision or not.
I thought it came down from. I mean, with hindsight, it doesn't look like a good decision, does it? Because Gilbert's got a bit more pace that would have probably helped the back four. In the end, with Mings, who's got pace, ending up being one of the ones that goes off. I thought Elmo was our best player at Chelsea. I think it just sends a message of if you do well, you keep the shirt.
I'm trying to think.
He got the assist.
I don't think anyone covers themselves in a huge.
No, but he got an assist, didn't he? Put the cross in for Luiz's header at the end, so he was delivering good crosses into the game. He didn't really get caught out defensively against Chelsea. He kept Pulisic relatively quiet, I thought.
Oh, I don't know. I thought Pulisic was really good against Chelsea.
Okay. I was probably more beers in than you.
It's hard to watch from the shed end because you're so far away from. It felt like most of the game essentially, but I just thought every time Pulisic picked up the ball, he looked really sharp. But I mean, maybe
thinking about that Chelsea, like when we met up afterwards, I was thinking of Tom was with Jeff Reinbold, the NFL presenter,
analyst,
and me and Dolan, we were just walking around looking for a pub. And we've got like our Tesco sandwiches in our hand, looking for a pub, and we walked past a posh restaurant, and who's there? Who's there with his duck and caviar?
There was no caviar.
Tom Julian. Sat there having his duck.
I did have a nice smorgasbord of charcuterie.
Me and Dolan couldn't go in until we'd finished our meal deal, Tesco's value sandwiches.
I mean, it wasn't like they stopped you at the door. It was that posh, but it was a very lovely meal.
It was just a funny thing. I just wasn't. We weren't expecting to see it. We were like, is that Tom?
All right, lads, we're going to go Chelsea away, and then we're going to have a lovely Coke brasserie.
You talking about being in the shed end, like
exactly,
you're hardcore, and then eating your duck.
All of that is true.
Football is for the fans, not for people like this guy.
That's true.
Not for people like this guy.
That is true.
Sorry, it's a funny. It made me laugh. I told someone that story yesterday.
I had an absolute nightmare before that game. Jeff didn't arrive until almost half time, and I thought I was going to have to wait outside for him. In the end, the Chelsea stewards were really good and let me give them the ticket. And
oh, really? I was surprised at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, my alarm's going off.
What for? To get up?
Check with Ostina.
I don't know what that means.
Well, no, you don't need to. But there you go.
Take it as a person.
Yes. Okay, so let's get back. So Leicester go 2-0 up, and just before half-time, Jack Grealish gives Villa a ray of hope.
Nice finish.
A lovely finish, actually.
Deflection.
Yeah, but he does well. I mean, the ball's bobbling about. Jack kind of gets it out of his feet, and again, I mean, it's not like the Manchester United goal at all, but kind of opens his body up and swings it into the far side post. And you know, at that point, you're looking. It's half time now. We're only 2-1 down. That's a lot different to 2-0. The old cliche, Dean Smith's half-time talk, all changes, all that kind of stuff. And there's a little bit more hope, I imagine, in Villa Park.
Yeah, I felt good. Felt that we needed it. I felt that we probably deserved a goal. On the balance of play, I thought in the first half, Grealish's productivity's come on leaps and bounds. I think he's already at the same or similar amount of goals to what he got last season, and assists in his last 8 games. His productivity's been really good, really good. So fair play to him, and that's what we need from him, because he's our talisman. He's our best player, and he needs to do that as well to get himself noticed and to get himself into the England squad.
Yeah, and 4 minutes later into the second half, Leicester restore their 2-goal lead. Johnny Evans unmarked, really.
That's poor.
And again, I think it's Elmo that loses his man. I'm not sure. I mean, Elmo's a decent header of the ball, but Johnny Evans is fairly big, right? But it's a good header from a long way out.
It's very accurate.
But Johnny Evans has got absolutely no pressure on him, and loops one into the far right-hand corner, I think it is.
It comes down to, again, making life difficult for people. Obviously, you were supposed to come on and do the Chelsea podcast last week, and you didn't make it because of stupid London transport.
Yeah.
But I was saying about the goals for Chelsea, just too easy. Like, no one anywhere near Tammy. Second goal, he's able to bring it down, and there's just no pressure on him whatsoever. Let's get in people's faces a little bit more, make life difficult. I mean, he's saying it's a good header, and he is a really, really good header, but
he shouldn't be able to do that.
All the time in the world to do that. If you disrupt him, he's not going to be able to do that.
Especially at a corner, which is a set piece. Everybody's ready to go. It's not like it's been a breakaway attack and we're suddenly
Johnny Evans is scoring on the counter. There's some problems.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? With the Tammy, you can kind of forgive people a little bit for being at 6s and 7s. You can't.
I can't forgive being passive, and that's what I think we've been the last 2 games.
But sometimes people are caught out, especially if we've gone up and then they've broken really quickly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
The corner, there's no excuse for that, really. And again, it's football, so people lose their men, that kind of thing. These things happen, and it's unlucky that Johnny Evans has got a point-perfect header there. But we need to be better at cutting out those mistakes, because we are conceding, again, from another cross.
Yeah, it's crosses and corners, same as the Liverpool game at home. It's a cross and it's a corner, but we're not disrupting people. Like we're saying, Mane's goal against us was a really good header, and it's a pretty good header from him, isn't it? But he's not put under any pressure by anyone.
Yeah,
you got to get in people's faces a bit more and put the pressure on. Cut out these soft goals and we'll be okay.
Yeah. 2 minutes later, Matt Targett should walk for a
shocking challenge.
For a horrible challenge on Pereira. Yeah. So again, VAR. I mean, the last couple of VAR decisions, I think, have done us a favour.
Made them right though.
No, I'm not saying that for a second.
You're a stickler for the rules.
Yeah, I am. But it's just kind of. I suppose it's evening itself out as it happened. I mean, Matty Targett might as well have been sent off for this game.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with Grealish's goal when they looked at VAR. There was nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not even sure what they were they looking offside, weren't they?
And again, it comes back. Does VAR overrule the fact that, I mean, the referee's seen it, he's given a yellow card for it, and therefore they just think,
it's not clear and obvious.
Let's back our referee here. And
I think that's a red card.
I don't think anybody disagrees with you. It
could have been a real bad injury as well.
He's hit Pereira's shin, Target, and it could have been nasty. Anyway, Target stays on, but Villa just looking very frustrated. I think McGinn gets booked for clipping Maddison.
Jack's lost his head at this point.
Grealish is losing his rag, and Nakamba, who's already been booked, he has to come off because and Trezeguet comes on. We're kind of searching for something at this point, but it just feels like Villa are at 6s and 7s, whereas Leicester are just gliding around the pitch.
Yeah, I got the impression in the third goal, kind of felt like we just gave up, which again isn't really acceptable, is it, to give up a 3-1, because you've still got a way back into the game if you can nick a goal. We just we looked a bit despondent. It reminded me a little bit of the last time we were in the Premier League, that game, where it's just like, okay, that's that then.
Yeah.
It was a little bit like that, and we've not been like that since we've got promoted. There's been a real good atmosphere. I think someone asked about the atmosphere on Sunday in the questions as I was going through them, talking about it starting to get toxic again. I don't think it was toxic on Sunday, but you can see a couple more defeats, and it may start to turn that way and become a difficult place to play again. And I just don't want that. I thought we were past that with the harmony at the club, and have seen in the second half of last season when we were all together how much of a difference that it can make to the team, because it does affect the players. I did feel it was on the cusp of becoming a difficult place to play again.
Right.
On Sunday, fans were getting frustrated. Obviously, we've taken a good beating. So it's not all singing and rain. Singing and rain, that's not a phrase at all.
No,
it's not
singing and dancing.
It's singing and dancing. It's not all
singing and rain.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. It's
singing in the rain.
Yeah, it's not all happiness, is it? Because we've been pumped.
No.
But
and you shouldn't have to be like overly joyous because we lost 4-1.
No, but you don't want it to go toxic.
No,
again.
for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree. So just going back to that point about Leicester dominating, Darren Healy, given how easily Leicester cut through us at the weekend and how susceptible our midfield has looked on occasion in other games, would you like to see a change in formation? I think 5 at the back with Mings, Engels and Konsa, and Gilbert and Targett as wing-backs could work. Obviously the Mings news maybe changes that, but what do you think about playing 5 with the wing-backs?
I think Dean Smith said he won't do that.
Right.
I think he actively has come out and said that he won't change formation in the past, so I don't really want to discuss it because I wouldn't expect it to happen, but I think we've got the players to play that formation, because I think we've got 2 outside centre-backs in Konsa and Mings, and Engels ideal in the centre, and Chester and Hawes are capable of doing those positions as well. I think we've got the right players to do it. You'd need another striker, I think. I think then we could maybe get away with playing 2 up front and giving Wesley a bit of help, but there isn't a striker.
Yeah, and who do you take out if you're going to put another striker up
there? The wingers,
there?
I guess. You stick with the 3 central midfielders.
It's difficult though, isn't it? Because El Ghazi's...
you can play El Ghazi up top next to Wesley, I guess.
But we're kind of doing that already.
Yeah.
And let's talk about Wesley.
We need to stop conceding goals.
For sure.
We need to do something.
Let's talk about Wesley for a second. Obviously, you and I have been on the opposite sides of the fence on this one. Yeah. You were there on Sunday. I didn't think he did anything. Really, you kind of defended him at half time, and I
fatal error doing a tweet at half time. I'm doing that again.
I quote tweeted you. I actually thought that tweet was at the end of the game. So I
think I did say this half in the tweet, but
I don't read things, do I?
No. Why not? Stitch me up, reach me afterwards.
But again, it kind of it feels the Wesley thing is weird because there is a real diaspora of...
I don't even know what that means, Tom.
I want to say that it means 2 different things, but I don't think that's right.
If you got a bad tumor.
Yeah, I don't think it's right, so I think we should strike it for the record. There's a group which is kind of now turning on Wesley, and it's like...
It's gone.
It's gone. And then there's the other group that just gets more hardened to Wesley. He scored 4 goals. Look at our other strikers that have scored 4 goals at this point in their career and went on to be legends, all this kind of stuff. And it feels like those 2 are getting further polar opposites. And that is potentially a big kind of part of the disharmony there, the kind of, do we have a striker in the making or don't we? And are you and I still on the opposite sides of that?
Look, I thought in the first half he was trying to do the right things. I'm not slagging you off for watching it on telly, but you can get a different perspective when you're at the game than when you watch the telly. I thought he was working hard.
Fan, yeah.
Yep. I thought he was working hard. He was trying to do the right things. They weren't always coming off, but I will also say I know that's not enough.
Yes.
In the Premier League.
Yeah.
Second half, I thought he was pretty anonymous, but again on the flip side, service isn't great, but then when the service is there, I always look at where he is, and he's not in the place I would expect him to be. So there's work to be done. I'm not disputing that, but I also think, what does getting on his back achieve?
Yeah.
So what's that going to do?
Listen, I mean, I get on his back here, I guess, but he doesn't listen to the podcast.
You don't know that he doesn't listen, Tom.
That's true. But I mean, I'm desperate for him to score as much as anybody for the good of the team. Me and Wesley are never going to be best friends, but
anyway, even if you liked him,
yeah, exactly. If he could score for the team, then that's good for me because it's good for Villa. And if I'm at the games, which sometimes I am,
yeah, but you wouldn't like.
I wouldn't boo him. I wouldn't boo him. I don't boo him. I sometimes get frustrated.
No one boos him, to be fair.
Yeah, fine, but I want him to do well. That's what I'm saying, and I think all Villa fans. Well, most Villa fans...
There's an element on Twitter that don't want him to do well, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Twitter's a terrible place for stuff like that.
Sure. Small Sean, people saying Kodja ain't good enough to swap for Wesley. However, we're playing a similar system, 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. Work Codger's best performance was as 2 up top with Tammy, where he arguably outperformed Tammy.
Codger's not for me.
I had a chat with Jeff, who's a coach, obviously an NFL coach, but we were talking about Codger because he was warming up in front of us, and he had his hood on and his hat low down and his snood up.
Yeah, Max and I spoke about that a little bit last week.
Yeah, I said to Jeff, how as a coach, how does that make you feel? Do you want to put this player in? And he was just like, this guy doesn't come like, he obviously doesn't know Aston Villa at all, but he doesn't come across like he wants to be for the team. He doesn't look like he wants to come on. And I mean, whether that comes from Smith not putting him on ever anyway, where does it start? But if you want to get on, you're stripped, you're ready to go. I've heard podcasts with old players saying like they would badger the manager, and like when they were on the bench they'd be like, right, I'm ready to go. When they're at training they'd be like, I can do a job for you here. They'd be knocking on the door every day. It just we don't get that impression from Codger.
I just don't think he's a Premier League player. I think had we got into the Premier League after his first season and he hadn't got the injuries, perhaps he could have been. So I have some sympathy for him in the fact that I do think injuries have slowed him down. They've took away a yard of pace, but for me, he does not do the basics.
Yeah.
And people always say, well, Wesley's not doing the basics, mate. But I think he is. I think the basic work rate is there. With Codger, he'll let you down because he won't work hard. If he's on the wing, he won't track a man. I remember the Middlesbrough playoff semi-final, me and you next to each other, the away leg. Everyone's working their arse off. And Codger's just come on and he's strolling around and players are having to tell him to work hard. And from that day, I've just thought, no, not for me.
I guess the other side of that is it's not working at the moment with Wesley.
Fair.
And Wesley needs to be taken out almost for his own good. So
He won't be taken out.
But what good does it do just like keeping hammering this same drum? The analogies have been all over the place.
Really have. I mean, it's an early podcast.
But do you know what I mean? Like, why not give Codger a chance against Sheffield United or some kind of run out, especially when we've got a lot of fixtures around Christmas, and just see whether he's up for it and whether he can do anything different? Because at the moment, our striker situation isn't working, and even if it doesn't do any good, maybe it does Wesley a bit of good to be out of the firing line for a bit.
I mean, I said in I'm going to repeat myself if people listen to both podcasts, but I said...
We don't talk about that,
No.
We don't talk about that.
I said that I think Smith doesn't take Wesley off.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want him to get a shoe-in from the fans. He doesn't want him to have to go through that. That's genuinely what I think.
That seems a bit backward to me, because
I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, you almost certainly are. But like Smith, to me, it's like take him out, and it kind of worked for Neeland. I think obviously that was forced with injury, but he had some time. It was quite a long time, but he had some time away, and he looked like a better goalkeeper all round because he'd had that kind of time to grow. I think Wesley needs that. I really hope.
Confidence is down.
Yeah,
big time.
He's also a young player in his career. Not only is he only 22, 23, but he's also came to the game late. So he doesn't have the fundamentals currently. He needs to learn a few like that.
That's an NFL phrase that he doesn't.
He doesn't have fundamentals. But do you know what I mean? His touch is sometimes fairly poor for a Premier League player, I would say. Like, we always talk about his hold-up play, all this kind of stuff. He needs to get that confidence back, but he also needs to work on a few things, his positioning, his movement. It just feels to me like he's not trusted in that team. And for me, the kindest thing to do would be to take him out, give Codger a run and see what happens.
I just think Smith maybe thinks Wesley's going to be here long term, and he doesn't think that with Codger. If we get a suitable, mind you, can we afford to sell a striker at the moment? I was going to say, if we got an offer for Codger in January, I think we'd accept it. He's going to be gone in the summer, most definitely. There's no way he's getting a new contract.
Yeah,
Wesley he sees as Villa's future. I'm just trying to think of reasons for it.
Yeah, and this is the first time I felt like Smith's been quite stubborn. And
football managers are stubborn.
They are, but Smith's always been quite honest in his press conferences. The last times that he's talked about Wesley, I don't see what Smith sees. I'm not saying anybody's saying anything essentially, but we're not seeing the same thing. That's
there is people that are seeing it because people are defending him.
Yeah, and
on social media.
I know, and that frustrates me. But I mean, I'm not the oracle, and I'm wrong on several things. So maybe I'm wrong here.
My thing is, I think I'm more inclined to, if someone's getting absolute panning, I'm more inclined to just defend, and that's me being stubborn. I'm more inclined to defend it because I don't like that kind of thing.
But that's where I see Smith at the moment, and maybe he's doing it as a fan of Wesley, and he knows Wesley, and he wants him. He just wills him to succeed. But to me, it's not where he should be as the manager.
I just want to see him put himself about a bit more. He's 6'3". He looks like he should be a powerhouse, and that he should be really causing damage. And I want to see a bit more physicality from him. That's what I will say.
I agree. Right, let's move on. 65 minutes. This kind of summed it up really. Nice cross from El Ghazi. Nobody's there to meet it. It's like Villa have a snapshot and we just can't take advantage. But from there on, it's Leicester. Vardy sets up Maddison.
They should have had a hatful.
Can't get a shot on target. Tielemans has a volley. Pereira crosses to Barnes. Barnes can't get his shot on target. That kind of thing. And they just keep peppering. And at this point, Villa are just praying for the final whistle, aren't they? And
a lot of people have gone at this point.
Yeah.
And then when the fourth went in.
Oh, yeah. So Vardy gets his 16th goal of the season. Fantastic campaign from him so far. And, we're not even at Christmas yet. That's incredible.
Won't last that.
He'll never be a Premier League player. Pryor lifts the ball to Vardy. Vardy just chases it down, and it's another neat finish.
He could have just squared it to someone. I know someone had marked at the far post. I can't remember who it was. He's not going to, but he could have done.
Yeah,
that's just a breakaway. You accept that might happen when you're chasing a game.
Yeah,
albeit we weren't chasing it very well.
Yeah, again, it just kind of put the icing on top of a really horrible cake, didn't it?
Tom Heaton kept the score down.
Yeah,
he did. A couple
did.
Of really, really good saves.
Actually, the notes have let us down there a little bit.
It's no surprise.
Note surprise. Heaton played well, and I think he had one smash his face, which he technically saved, but he did a couple of decent things. And again, in a 4-1 defeat, you don't really expect your goalkeeper to be the outstanding person.
Probably coming out with the Man of the Match award.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, really.
I guess so.
Who had Man of the Match on score? Vardy?
Yes, I think it was.
No shocks there.
I can't remember, but I guess so. There's a minute's applause we should touch on at the 81st minute for Ron Saunders, who passed away last week. And a sombre moment, and Ron gave so much to this club, notably the 81 title, and that's obviously why the 81st minute was applauded. There was also one pre-match as well, wasn't there? So the people that had left early didn't miss paying their respects.
No, it was a bit of a shambles, the pre-match one, actually.
Right.
The referee blew the whistle to start, and because the fans had already been applauding, the players thought that was the end. So they all just ran back. So actually the minute's applause didn't really happen, which was a bit strange, a bit of a shambles. But it's a genuine mistake. I think it's an honest mistake from everyone involved. I don't think anyone's going out to be disrespectful.
No.
Ron Saunders is a complete legend of the football club. It's a struggle to tell the stories because obviously we didn't witness it because we're too young. But all I will say is when we've spent time with Brian Little, he's told some amazing stories. And if you go back and listen to those big interviews with Brian in the first part, I went back and listened to it yesterday. He told some exceptional stories about Ron Saunders. I think those two clashed a little bit, but it sounds like just an amazing man.
Yeah.
Just an amazing man.
Yeah, a big personality and did a huge amount for the club. We've seen a few people on social media saying, well, it's time to get the Ron Saunders stand or that kind of thing. Do you think there'll be something that Villa does to honour him?
They've got to do something for me because I don't think we'll ever see his like again. I don't think anyone will ever have the impact on Aston Villa that he had again. And again, I'm just going off what I've read and heard because we didn't witness it. But Villa were on their arse, I think, when he came in. He picked them up, dusted them down, and got them. I sound like Steve Bruce.
Go again.
Yeah, he picked them up, got them up the leagues, and achieved the ultimate, and built the side that then it went on to achieve the ultimate.
What did your dad say about it? I'm putting you on the spot there. Have you spoken to him about it? Or?
I haven't really asked him about it. I mean, I think he obviously had a lot of love for Ron Saunders, and he witnessed that time, but I didn't really ask him about it because I think he struggles with his memory nowadays. I don't tend not to ask him things.
don't put him under that pressure. No. Fair enough. So the game, kind of going back to the game wears down. McGinn and Grealish both go down in the box for very soft penalty appeals. I mean, I think McGinn is fairly lucky not to get another booking.
I haven't seen that back. He seemed adamant it was a penalty.
I know, it's very soft, and I mean, if the referee wanted to be sympathetic, he might have given a penalty at that stage. But Leicester run out easy winners in the end. Their 8th consecutive win, which again needs to be taken into context.
Vardy as well is on course to break his own record of consecutive game scoring as well.
Vardy's in fantastic form. Iheanacho has scored in every game that he started, I think, this year as well, 4 in 4. So, I mean, Leicester are a great team. Let's not get that twisted at all. They're a good side, and they're going to be a Champions League side next year. So, I understand that totally. It just felt like we gave up pretty early.
You've got to do more to compete.
Yeah.
You've got to do more to compete. You can accept losing, can't you?
You can.
It's the way you lose sometimes. And I don't think we lost that game in a good way in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Villa now 17th and the same amount of points as Southampton, who are 18th. It's very close down there, but there is a kind of margin between the bottom teams and the top starting to appear. Like you look at Newcastle, who were terrible against Villa. They're 11th with 22 points.
That's how Bruce is doing a decent job there, isn't he?
He's just... This is the frustration for me. I'm not saying, obviously, to keep Bruce.
We never want Bruce back.
No, but Villa have come so, let's not make this about Bruce, Villa have come so close to winning some really important games, and this is where I get frustrated with fans that go, oh, we never expected to win that game anyway. Yes, but we were 3 minutes from winning that game, or getting a point.
You've got to see things out.
Yeah, and Villa have let themselves down, certainly in the kind of second half of games, where, if games ended on 75th minute or whatever, we'd be 4th, or something ridiculous.
Games ended at half time, I think we'd be 2nd.
Yeah, it's madness, really. We need to be better at cementing the points, because, fine, we shouldn't be beaten. We're not down to beat Liverpool. We're not down to beat these top teams, but we're also not beating the teams that are around us. And
well, that's got to change in the next 5.
But this is it. We need to start getting some points, because it's all well and good putting in the performances, and obviously we didn't see that against Leicester, but points matter.
I mean, I will say we're not cut adrift, are we? We're not in a terrible position at all. We're 17th, but we're in the mix of being in the top, like up to 11th, really, 12th, 11th, 10th. Sorry, like we're not far off being in that mix.
A couple of wins and you're back.
Yeah,
up.
you win back to backs. That's what we've said all through this season on the podcast. You win back to backs, you move at the league, and we've got a chance to do that.
Yeah.
Coming up, we've played 5 of the big 6 away from home as well. So you've got to look at the fixtures. I think we'll get better as the season goes on. We've got to make sure that Sunday doesn't become something that makes the team too despondent and we lose confidence. Got to keep that momentum and keep the good feeling and the confidence up. I think we'll be okay, but I think by the time we're into January, after Christmas, we'll know what the rest of this season is going to be about, because we've got to win some of those games. Yeah,
well, Sheffield United coming up, Southampton coming up. These are massive games for the club, and we've got to stay behind the team. I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Supporting the teams, particularly at home, is huge.
Home is where home form is the pivotal one, and in general, home form has been okay.
Yeah, I agree.
But we need to do a little bit more away from home, because 4 points isn't good.
No. Again, it's so frustrating. We are...
The Arsenal one's the one that I think about all the time.
Arsenal, West Ham.
They are trash.
West Ham as well. I remember at the time people say, West Ham could have gone 3rd. And now look at them. They're not a good side. And we had the making. We should have beaten them.
Well, we didn't push in that game.
Exactly. They had 10 men.
It's been some strange games.
But it's been a weird season, because, again, it's a balance between... I realise that we shouldn't be challenging for Champions League, but at the same time, performances have shown that we could have been at least mid-table.
I think if the season was if they were to just say, now let's start the season again, and you play those fixtures again, I think we'd have learned lessons, that mistakes that we made wouldn't get made. Like, I think we'd beat Arsenal if they were down to 10 men now, if we started the season again. But at that point, we weren't ready to do that.
Yeah, there's another point there, isn't there, about the gelling of the team. It was a pretty new core, and that does take time, and I think that is a genuine reason.
I think
but
we should look at that next week. I think we should look at now, after a few months, was our transfer business in the summer a success? Go through the players and have a look at that, because I think that'd be quite interesting.
I look forward to it.
Yes, let's do it. I need to go now. I need to go to work.
We do. Yes, you need to go to work. I've got a day off, but
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. All right, let's get out of here then. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, doing all those things. As I say, mugs, first orders will be on heading hopefully to you at the end of this week. Any problems, do let us know. My direct messages are open, so
I'll be getting a lot of mugs DMs and I don't know the answers.
yeah, I have messaged as many people as I can back, and I'm checking the emails as much as I can, but it has been proper busy with other stuff, so apologies for that, but they are coming, and we thank you again. There'll be a preview.
Yeah, I'll sort that out. Yeah, I'll get that done.
Okay,
I don't
good.
know when. God knows when.
And we'll be back in the booth next week as well. So thank you very much. Stick with the channel. Stick with the Villa. Up the Villa.
Watch our Tony Daly video as well.
Oh,
please.
yeah, the Tony Daly. We didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, come on.
Tony Daly. That's a wicked video.
Wicked.
Wicked.
Why'd you always say that?
I don't know.
You're not 11 years old in the 1990s.
It was an ace video and really fun. Thank you for Tony for putting us through our paces.
Peng video.
It's actually rejuvenated my
you're doing well.
gymming regime.
Yeah, you're doing
well. Very, very important. So yeah, do watch that. It's on our YouTube, obviously. And we'll see you next week. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.